Binge the full week ad free over at patreon.com/inspired disorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
This is my top 5 survival reality TV shows. Monday, I talked about season 7 of Alone, which is definitely one of, surprise, spoilers, somewhere on this list. You will be seeing the TV show Alone, potentially, or maybe not. But that's what inspired this list. There are a handful. I didn't do extensive research. I have not seen every survival reality TV show that's out there, but I've seen enough. I've seen a lot, enough to do my top 5 lists. So let's get it started, shall we? With my number 5 reality show, survival reality TV show, is a show that I wouldn't really call survival as much as a game show, but number 5 is Survivor. Probably the most popular survival reality TV show. I've seen a few seasons of Survivor. I think it's a fun show. I don't think it's necessarily a survival show as much as it's a political show. Like there's a lot of mind games. There's a lot of politicking going on. It's a popularity contest to an extent. But there's not really a lot of survival. They're in groups. They're not really hunting or anything like that. They have production teams, and it's, they play like silly challenges and they vote each other off, and it's a fun show. But once you've seen a few seasons of the show, it just kind of gets old. At least for me, it gets kind of old. So Survivor, that's why it's coming in number 5 for me. It is on the low end of the list, but it is one of the most popular of the genre, so it will be on the list, but only at the number 5 slot. That is number 5, Survivor. So my number 4 pick for my top 5 survival TV shows, coming in at number 4, is Naked and Afraid. This is just an interesting spin on a survival show. You're taking 2 people, and I don't believe any of them have any real survival knowledge. They're both, taken to an area. Their clothes are removed, so they're both naked, and they have like a little satchel to carry their stuff. I don't really know what the goal is. I don't know if they're trying to find something or if they're just trying to stay out in the wild for as long as they can. Or I don't really remember the kind of plot of the goal of Naked and Afraid, but it's a show that I've watched a bunch of times in motels, just from traveling. I remember going when I was moving to Denver and staying in a lot of hotels. This was one of the shows that just plays on repeat on Discovery Channel in hotels, and it's a fun reality show. It's a fun survival reality show. It's not too high of stakes, but it's definitely more of a survival show than Survivor is, I would say. I mean, they're definitely dealing with the elements in a lot of ways. They're not. It's not really hardcore in any way like Survivor is, or like some of the other shows are. But it's a fun take on it. It's a fun show that I enjoy watching. So it's coming in at number 4, just because watchability wise, it's a little bit more fun than Survivor. But it's still, a lot of these survival shows aren't really survival shows. They're more reality TV shows, and when I say reality TV, there's giant quotation marks around reality, because it's really false advertising for the reality TV genre to even exist when it has so many writers and producers involved. It's not very real. But anyway, coming in at number 4 is Naked and Afraid. Number 3 is a survival show that I've enjoyed watching. It's similar to other survival shows where you have kind of your 2 hosts are survival experts, or at least in this show there are two hosts. And that coming in at number 3 is Dual Survivor, or Dual Survival is what it's called. You had two survival experts, but they both come from a different perspective in the kind of survival oeuvre. Like you have the one guy who's more of a naturalist. He, has more of the Native American kind of perspective on survival and living off the land. And then the other guy is like a former Marine kind of a guy and has that kind of hard-nosed structure to him, which in and of itself, having those two different personalities butting up against each other is fun. It also is a bit different than the similar shows that just have a single host, where you're getting not only two perspectives, but you're getting those two perspectives playing off of each other, and just a really fun show. And it's a show that feels like it's a bit more of a survival show, where like these guys are set into different kind of extreme scenarios and they have to get out of it. More so than another show that did not make my list, which I'll talk about afterwards. But Dual Survival is a lot of fun. It's a really fun show that, as far as those kind of obviously produced shows, like they're putting themselves in situations. So it's like, oh, we're going to show you how to deal with a snake bite. Oh, we're going to show you how to drink your own piss in the desert. Oh, we're going to show you how like they can build things and make things out of stuff. It's a fun show. I really enjoy it, and just a little bit more than Naked Afraid, where it's the Dual Survival is two hosts that are in every episode. So it's like, as opposed to Naked and Afraid, it's a new team. Each episode has a new pairing. Dual Survivor, you kind of latch on to the host a little bit more. So that's my number 3. My number 2 pick out of my top 5 survival reality TV shows is the OG, in my opinion. It's the one that did it the best. It's the one that did it the most believable. And it's the one where the guy did all of his own work. And coming in at number 2 is Survivor Man by Les Stroud. Just the other option that would have probably been on a lot of other people's lists that I kind of alluded to in previous picks is Man vs. Wild with Bear Grylls. That one is a little bit too fake for me. It's like it's just convenient. He's just showing off these different things, but he's not really surviving. He's not really out there. Whereas, as far as Les Stroud in Survivor Man, he was setting up all of his own camera. He was hauling his cameras, and this was like back before digital was really big. Like he's hauling out like DV cassettes and things like that, and he's actually out there surviving. Like he would just be left out somewhere for like a week or a month or whatever. I don't really remember how long Survivor Man would be out surviving in a place. But that one was the best as far as survival reality TV shows for a long time, because it was the most authentic. It was somebody actually surviving. And you get to see like him deteriorate over time. There was an episode where he was like surviving on a raft out in the middle of the water. I think that one there was some controversy in that, as far as he may not have been able to survive. I think he had to radio for help. But yeah, coming in at number 2 is Survivor Man. I think aside from my number 1 pick, it's the quintessential survival reality TV show. It was the most authentic, the most real, and the most fun to watch. But now, coming in at number 1, my number 1 pick out of my top 5 survival reality TV shows is the show that I reviewed earlier in the week. It's the show that I mentioned at the top of this episode. Coming in at number 1 is Alone. I love Alone for all of the same reasons I love Survivor Man. Basically, Alone is if you took 10 Survivor people, right? If you took Les Stroud and 9 other survival experts and you put them all in deserted areas, far from each other where they don't have any help, they're not teamed up with anybody, it's just them on their own. They also film themselves like Survivor Man. It is in so many ways the next level, the next evolution of what Survivor Man was, is Alone. And it's just people put out in the middle of nowhere in harsh conditions, and the person that lasts the longest, the one that survives the longest without getting pulled out, wins. So as far as, kind of the game show aspect of it, it has that. It has the authentic feel of actual surviving in these harsh conditions, unlike a lot of the other survival shows. Alone, I think, is the most authentic. But yeah, it's by far my favorite survival reality TV show is Alone. It really just takes the heart and soul of Survivor Man and just fleshes it out into a much more exciting kind of way to show how different people, take on. You really get to see, compare and contrast all of the different survival styles and all of the kind of fundamentals that they all have as well. But yeah, so number 1 is Alone. Let me go over my top 5 list one more time. Coming in at number 5 is Survivor. Coming in number 4 is Naked and Afraid. Number 3 is Dual Survival. Number 2 is Survivor Man. And my number one my number one survival reality TV show is Alone. Now, of course, Survivor or Man vs. Wild is one that didn't make the list. There's a few like The Compound, which was kind of like Survivor. There's a lot of other ones. There's some shows that I haven't seen. But as far as the survival reality TV shows that I have seen, this is my top 5 list, and Alone being at the pinnacle of that list. Let me know what your favorite survival reality TV shows are in the comments of this video, or you can hit me up on social media if you want. I would love to know if there's a survival reality show reality TV show that you think is better than Alone or similar to Alone, like as far as that vibe. Please let me know. I would definitely be willing to check out any show that you think is amazing that I may have overlooked on this list. But yeah, that's my top 5 survival reality TV shows. Get yourself some amazing coffee over at stationhousecoffee.com and follow Station House Coffee on Instagram. That's right, people. It's the place where you get your amazing premium coffee that's brewed in small batches, all from the same place, single origin. It's the greatest coffee known on earth, brewed by experts, delivered to you by experts. Go get yourself some amazing coffee over at stationhousecoffee.com, and make sure you follow Station House Coffee on Instagram. Let them know that you're a fan of the show and you love coffee. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Peace out!